What's going on, lads? Viper here, and welcome to a new tutorial on the channel. Today I'm bringing you a pro level defending tutorial. I just recently got myself into the elite division, so these are the methods I have gathered after playing tons of pros, and these are the most effective ways to defend on the game. But before we get into the tutorial, if you guys are enjoying the content at the moment, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, as a lot of you guys that are watching aren't subscribed, so I'd really appreciate if you could just hit the subscribe button. Thank you for all the crazy support you have been showing recently. But with that being said, let's get into the tutorial. So then guys, defending on this game is actually quite difficult unless you're using the methods that I'm providing here. I was actually in the same boat and I was quite bad at defending at the start of this game. But from the clips you are now seeing on your screen, you can see a pattern forming, how we are using second man press quite a lot. And against the very good players, you'll notice you have to do this an awful lot, as it is the #1 way to defend. But it's not only about second man pressing, it's about having great player switching and controlling your midfielders. Obviously, controlling your midfielders wasn't as important in previous FIFAs. I think the last FIFA it was really good in was FIFA 19, but this year defending with your midfielders is very, very important. It's very, very good if you manage to have a free midfield formation, as you can rotate between all of the players to second man press. So a 4-3-2-1 is really good for this, because I believe you only get 4 seconds on the second man press, and I think it takes like 10 seconds to recharge before you can second man press with the same player again. But to second man press, all you need to do is hold down R1, then you can also defend with another midfielder whilst you're also second man pressing with the other midfielder. The reason this is so good in a free midfielder formation is you're always going to have one midfielder left over, so if you do manage to intercept the ball, you have a pass to play out that's quite easy to play. In 2 midfielder formations, you're going to struggle a bit more because you're controlling one midfielder and the other one second man pressing, but you can still get away with it. Just make sure when you are second man pressing in the midfield that you don't accidentally second man press with one of your centre backs. We're going to get in how to defend with your centre backs shortly, but please make sure that you're only second man pressing between your 2 midfielders. One thing to note is if you are second man pressing and you've got the green indicator above, but then you want to switch player as your second man pressing, it will switch to the player who has a green marker on top of them. And without a fair bit of practice using this will throw you off quite a lot. This is a new mechanic EA have added in this year, and it's very, very confusing to get used to at the start. So take your time with this. It probably took me up until Division 6 to really learn this all the way through, but once I got this down, it was one of the best ways to defend on the game. So just to go over again, with your midfielders, make sure you're second man pressing with one of them, and make sure the player that you are controlling yourself is cutting off the passing lane so they don't get a driven ball into their strikers. And the press you are putting on using R1 will make them hurry a pass, and if you're cutting off the lane with one of your midfielders and pressing with the other, it is really difficult for them to get a pass off, and more often than not, they'll end up making a mistake. So with midfielder defending out the way, I want to get in how to defend with your centre backs and how to defend within the box, as this can be quite easy to do, but does take quite a lot of practice. So let's get into it. So in terms of defending within the box, you can still second man press between your centre backs if they manage to get past your midfielders. But the one thing to note is when you're holding L2 and R2, make sure you're not holding down on R2 an awful lot, as you're better off jockeying with L2 only this year and just covering the spaces slowly, because what you'll end up find happening quite a lot is if you're holding L2 and R2 down and jockeying, you'll end up overcommitting quite a lot, and because of how fast defenders seem to fast jockey, it's very hard to then get them back into position if you've overcommitted. And with how overpowered driven passes are on this game, it takes just one driven pass and you're done for. The only times I use L2 and R2 with my defenders is if I see the opponent lining up for a finesse shot or there's a tiny gap that's been left open. Other than that, completely take your hand off R2 when you're defending in the box. The idea of defending in the box on this game is to be very compact and not allow any driven passes to get through. AI blocks are very strong on this game, or just blocks in general, so as long as you're staying compact, jockeying with just L2, you'll find yourself having a lot higher success rate of defending, blocking shots, and getting the ball out of dodge when you're having to defend for your life. One more defending tip I do want to give you guys is when somebody's going down the byline, make sure you're committing 2 players to cover this byline player, because as this game develops and evolves, you're going to notice that a lot of players are going to start going down the byline, looking for the cut back into the box with a driven pass, as this is really broken. So make sure you're jockeying with one of your players and second man pressing with the other. You have to commit a few players to this, because this is becoming one of the most OP ways to score on this game. So make sure when somebody does go down the byline, you're being very aggressive with your centre backs and your full backs, because if you're not, this is an easy way for the opponent to score. With that being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy today's tutorial. Hopefully this will help you out and make you a better defender in the long run. This week we have a top 5 gameplay tips coming out for you guys, and my camera and controller settings. So if you do want to see that, make sure you leave a like on the video and you're subscribed to the channel if you're not already. But for now, guys, take care.